Alright, welcome to Chapters 10's video on printers. Printers convert our digital data to hard copy, and there are many different types of printers. Laser, inkjet, inkpad, impact, thermal, and then 3Ds. Some printers have additional functions such as scanning, and scanners come in two types, flatbed and automatic document feeds. Laser printers use mechanical, electrical, and optical technologies to convert digital data to a hard copy. Laser printers use toner instead of ink. The toner is attached to an electrical charged rotating drum called an imaging drum. The toner is then transferred to the paper, and the paper is sent through a fuser where the toner is permanently affixed to the paper using heat. So we have 7 steps in the laser printing process. You've got to process the image, so you send the image and the printer processes it, creates a bitmap of the final page and stores that in memory. Then the charging or conditioning, right? The drum surface is charged to negative 600 volts, so it clears off any residual image that was there. Then expose or writing, that's when the laser beam writes a negative 100 volt image to the drum surface. So the image itself is at negative 100 volts. And then developing, toner is applied to the surface of the drum, and it's that the difference in the charges between the negative 600 volts and the negative 100 volts attracts the toner to the image. Then the transfer roller puts a positive charge on the paper and pulls the toner from the drum onto the paper. And then the fuser, the fusing step is the paper goes through the fuser assembly, and then this uses heat and pressure to fuse and affix the toner to the paper. And then finally, you got cleaning. The drum is cleaned of residual toner and charge, and then it starts over again for the next page. Color laser printing just does the same thing, but it repeats 4 times, one for each color. All right. And here's the example of a typical laser printer, and the path, comes out from the bottom there, and the paper tray, and it goes through, gets the toner applied to it, goes through the fuser, and then goes out after the fuser. But you can see the various steps, right? So the first step was processing. You have that memory chip, and so it gets the actual image, puts it into memory. While it's charging the drum, then it exposes the drum with the laser beam, hits the mirror redirects it to the drum, and then it exposes that image. Remember, what we're doing is creating a less negative charge in the image area, because the toner is going to get attracted to the more positive charge, but it's still negative. And so when it gets the transfer roller, it puts a positive charge on the paper, so that pulls the toner off the drum because it's attracted to the more positive charge. And then you have the transfer, right, the fusing, and then cleaning, and then the paper exits. So some of the more replaceable parts are pickup rollers, separation pads, and toner cartridges. They're most frequently changed parts for a laser printer. In order to print on both sides of paper, in a laser printer, it requires a duplexing unit. The duplexing unit takes the paper after it prints prints out the first side, and then it pulls the paper back into the printer in such a way so it will now print on the other side. Laser printers are the workhorse printers in most organizations that do handle printing. But we'll go over some others that like the impact printers. They're in use in quite many organizations as well. But in offices, laser printers tend to be one of your main staples of printers. Inkjet printers, they're more for your home and small office users. They do not have the same high quality resolutions of printers. The cost per page is higher. However, for low quantity printing, the overall cost could be lower because the printers are less expensive than laser printers. So if there's a certain point where the volume of printing a laser printer is going to be more cost effective than an inkjet. But if you're doing very little printing, the inkjet might be a lower cost. But that depends, it depends on how much printing you're doing. However, once you start doing a lot of printing, the overall cost for a laser printer is going to be much lower in the long run. And the laser printer will run for decades, whereas the average inkjet is lucky to last a couple of years. The cost per page is going to be much lower for a laser printer, and the speed and quality is much higher than that of an inkjet. But an inkjet, it uses ink to disperse the printing. The print head moves across our paper, right? So one line of text is created with each pass, and it uses matrix of small dots to shoot and create the letters and numbers and images. And then you have different types of way of applying the ink. You have bubble jets and plates. Those are two styles of how the ink is applied. High-end inkjet printers have more than one cartridge to hold different colors of ink. There is a motor that moves the print head and ink cartridges across the path. Some inkjet printers offer duplexing, but you'll need to use a more heavy, high-quality paper so as the ink does not bleed through to the other side. Ideally, you want an inkjet with separate cartridges, with 4 being the optimum one, 1 black and 3 colors. Next, we have impact printers. The most known impact printer by most people is the dot matrix, and including on the A+ exam. However, there are many different kinds of impact printers that are used by large companies for billing, for example, or inventory and warehouse needs, because they're more sturdy, more robust, and they can be of high quality. These are industrial grade and typically are very fast compared to the dot matrix printer that the book is talking about. Dot matrix printers are what you might find in a small business. They used to be in the average user's home until inkjets with color came around. But impact printers are perfect for use with carbon paper to make duplicates as well as the continuous feed paper, which is why they're great for a lot of billing and inventory purposes, things like that, printing it off. The industrial size impact printers can do a ton of printing. So the guidelines for a dot matrix printer is, do not print over 50 to 70 pages without a cool down. But our industrial printers, also known like a line printer, use a band or a shuttle print head, will do thousands of pages without needing to cool down. They're workhorses. They're meant to go continuously for hours, printing, like I say, thousands of pages. They're workhorses. Very much different than what the book talks about. Next, we have thermal printers. They use heat to create an image, right? You have a direct thermal, which burns dots onto specially coated paper, or a thermal transfer paper, which uses a ribbon that contains wax-based ink, and the heat element melts the ribbon onto the thermal paper. These are used for printing receipts, barcode labels, clothing labels, container labels. Yeah. Some others are, for the airport, the baggage labels. They're usually, or they were at least, and I still believe they are, a thermal printer. Um, they're they're really good for labels and barcodes and receipts, and you'll see them in various different styles. Finally, we have 3D printers, right? They use some plastic filament or some kind of filament to build a 3D model of a digital image. When setting up a 3D printer, you gotta make sure the printer is level. Um, you have pre-made images available online, but you can also design your own images, but you'll need a 3D modeling program, something like CAD or something. And you can do some research online for tips on getting a cleaner finished products. And it's amazing what we're done with 3D printers, and what we're continuing to do, and just printers in general. I mean, they've got printers now that can print buildings. So the sky's the limit here. Definitely takes on a new form of printing. That's it for our printers. The next section will go over how to install, share, and maintain our printers.